Welcome everyone. This is community call number 12 for Covalent. It has been a rather momentous and crazy week for all of us. And yeah, there are so many things that have happened. We launched a staking last week, and there's a lot that's going on. And today we'll be talking about all around what's happening. So let's give it to Ganesh and take it on.
Awesome, thanks, Prateek. So today, this week is emotions run high, emotions run low. It's been quite a roller coaster for me personally. So let's start with the good news. The Covalent network staking launched this week. And this is something that we've been building for many years now. And we initially laid out that vision about 2.5 years ago in a very simple kind of white paper. And and what we've done is we've built the world's first proof-based indexer. Now, there's a lot of networks that launch out there without the demand for the network. So it's questionable, or it's arguable whether block space or whatever commodity that they're building a network around, if it's useful or not. Covalent has taken a very different kind of approach to building the network. We built an API, and then we found product market fit with that API. And then we went back and are rebuilding the infrastructure that underlies the API. So we can be guaranteed that when the network is fully up and running, including the query nodes, we have massive demand for the queries that is powered by the API. So the API is a standalone product, and we have a team that's building it. It has 25,000 plus devs. It has thousands of applications, and it's the unified API that supports 35 plus blockchains. So, quite a feat, quite an engineering feat that our team has pulled off, and it's incredible to see that the launch went without a hitch. So the block specimens are being created. There's about 11 independent operators who are producing these specimens, publishing their proofs to Moonbeam. And despite all of the volatility in the broader market, there's been no hitch on the, fingers crossed, of course, fingers crossed and touch wood. There's been no hitch. I don't want to jinx our own project, but there's been no hitch on the block specimens and the proofs that are generated. So that shows you that if these systems run at scale, unstoppable and permissionless and censorship resistant systems are here forever, and it'll outlive me, and it'll outlive this team. And that's an incredible part of the future to be a part of. So pretty exciting. I have Daniel on the team to share some stats, but I want to touch upon another point, which is crucial. Now, I'm sure most of you guys are aware that we've been in a semi-soft market for about 6 months or so, where asset prices like Bitcoin and Ethereum and all other kinds of crypto prices have been steadily declining. And what happened over the last 2 days is the Terra ecosystem basically imploded. So the stablecoin lost its peg. And because of that, there's been a lot of companies out there that are involved in that ecosystem. Thankfully, Covalent is not exposed to that ecosystem at all. Our treasury is all secure. We never really stepped into that ecosystem. So, we have never, we would never do something that jeopardizes the future of the project. But we are not independent from the entire ecosystem. So you can see asset prices have been declining. Now it's going to take a couple of weeks, couple of months to shake this off. But I want to remind you guys to what really happened a few years ago. So when we started Covalent, it was through the ICO boom, right? It was so easy to raise money. It was great to see all the euphoria around the crypto space. The parties were crazy. I went to Consensus, the conference in 2018. You could see all those Lambos, and that was the last time I saw any of that stuff. because right after that, for the next year and a half, 2 years, it was just a bear market. But best projects are built in the depths of the bear market. So in some sense, I would say I welcome the bear market, because now what we can do is we can be laser focused on building Covalent, improving the API, and catching up on our infrastructure. We've grown so fast, our traction has grown so fast that we've been having trouble scaling our infrastructure. And it's very noisy, it's very distractive. You see like a pseudo competitor or a so-called competitor crop up every week. So lots of distractions. It's a very noisy system, and there's always the shiny object syndrome. In a bear market, only the truly valuable projects that have solid fundamentals will thrive. So this is Covalent's second, if there was a bear market. I don't know if we are in a bear market, nobody does. But if we are entering a bear market, we're well capitalized and we will continue to drive forward in our mission. So there's no way for us, we're not going to scale back our ambition. We're not going to scale up, how aggressive we are with growth. So just give you a reminder, like this is not our first time through the rodeo. So I would say to borrow Meltem's phrase, we are a bear market baby. So we should probably print t-shirts about that. So I'm not faced. I think we'll continue. We have a very solid roadmap and we have a lot to do. I think the world requires a product like Covalent, and my conviction in the space and the broader ecosystem is stronger today than it was 3 years ago. So yeah, stay strong. Now let's hand it off to Daniel, and he will show some stats on how the network has been performing over the past 7 days, I think. And yeah, take it away.
Sure thing, Ganesh. Thanks so much. Can everybody hear me? Yeah, okay, yeah. Awesome. So my name is Daniel, and I'm a data journalist at Covalent, reporting on latest stories extracted from our index blockchain data. And the staking launch happened a week ago, and here's a very, very quick glimpse of our traction figures, details of which you can refer to our tweet thread after this call. So here's our chart for CKT stake in the Covalent network. Amazing, but unsurprising note, as per all the when is staking inquiries that's been happening, here is how much pent-up demand there's been. And we've really filled up staking allocation in less than 24 hours and accumulating now 1.2 million worth of CQT in less than 7 days. So that's an amazing feat. And looking at here is the chart of daily and cumulative block specimen produced, and really matching this strong demand for staking. There are now 11 independent network operators, so Stakely, Woodstock, and Be Aware, extracting blockchain data and normalizing them into our canonical format block specimens, our native technology, along with their proofs to the Moomin network. That really makes us the first proof-based indexer that has 100% data verifiability. And really nowhere can you get this canonical representation of blockchains in a full granular historical state. And you might have been wondering, the demand is very hot, but the room to stake is limited. How come? And that's really because safety and security is our number 1 priority. We want our operators to safely balance their pledged amounts. So right now, averaging about $140,000 right now, with the expected delegation amount. That's all. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Daniel. So there was one important point I want to touch upon. Most networks, when they launch, they open up the entire window for staking. And what ends up happening, you can go look at Cosmos, you can look at Polkadot, look at any of the systems out there. There is ownership concentration and power concentration at the top. And what ends up happening is the rich get richer, because the bulk of the staking rewards is proportional pro rata based on your staking and the amount you stake. And therefore, it actually increases the divide. So we've made a very conscious decision to gradually grow the room so that everyone has an opportunity to grow. Yes, it's not going to be hundreds of millions of dollars on day one, But this is not a DeFi protocol where we are benchmarked on total value locked. This is a data infrastructure, data indexing protocol, and we are benchmarked on the demands for the query nodes and the block specimens and things of that nature. So this is a different approach. And what you can see from the chart that Daniel shared, that the stake and the staking rewards are proportional to your stake, and they're all more or less the same. And this is a very important point, because if we had opened up all room on day one, then what ends up happening is all the whales will go in and they will take the bulk of the rewards. And I think that is an overall net negative for the space and for Covalent, because now suddenly it'll be again centralized. Now it's decentralized. No single operator controls the network, which is quite ideal. So the next update, we have a cadence of every 2 weeks of upgrading the room. And the next update will happen on the 19th, which is a week from now. And this is just a cadence, and then we'll share the parameters, and we'll open up the room. So there's more delegation room, probably more operators. So it's just a governance parameter that every 2 weeks will be pushed out. All right, awesome. So let's now hear from other people on the team. There is Harish, who leads DevRel. So let's hear from Harish what's going on with the hackathons, with the API product features, the Alchemist quests that are out and running. On to you, Harish.
Awesome. Well, if the crypto market's got you down, there's no better time to invest in yourself and build and learn some awesome skill sets, and of course win some bounty prizes. So at Covalent, we're always in the midst of 3 to 4 different developer events at any given time. 2 to bring your attention that are underway, but you can still get involved. One is the Chainlink Spring Hackathon. So we are sponsoring a $10,000 bounty there. And this is an interesting opportunity to see how you can use Covalent as a data feed into smart contracts. A bit of a greenfield space, but an area that I think has got a fair bit of promise and something we're looking at supporting. So have a look. And if you're interested, please join that Spring Hackathon. The second one to bring to your attention is the Clayton Covalent Unified Hackathon. So this is part of our Unified Hackathon series that builds on the 1 million wallets theme that we had last year. And so everything from building wallets to DEX dashboards to DAO analytical tools, you name it, you've got the ability to do that. So 3 different tiers. This is again in partnership with our one of our key blockchains, Clayton, based in Korea, and an opportunity to get exposed to both their ecosystem as well as some of the big projects there. So please check that out. As Ganesh mentioned, there's also a couple of quests that have been run by a couple of my colleagues, so specifically Shantanu and Libang. So if you're interested in hosting Web3 meetups, we've got the tools, the resources, the funding to enable you to do that. So please reach out. This is an opportunity for you to learn more about interesting Web3 topics, and then be able to also teach others both virtually and in person by hosting these meetups. And then for those of you who are a little bit more ambitious, we've got Hackathon in a Box, which is an opportunity to run more in-depth and longer period events with the developer audience. So just a shout out to guys like Maxi, who have been sort of the first as part of our Bootstrap days to try out this quest, and done a fantastic job localizing the content in Spanish and delivering this in Argentina. So again, we provide support, the funding, the resources for you to go ahead and do that. Keep an eye out. We've got a series of code templates coming out, including some mobile ones, again, for broadening your knowledge in the Web3 space. And we've got members of our team building those out and delivering that on a regular cadence. That's a quick summary from DevRel.
Amazing. Thank you, Harish. Okay, let's hear from Niall. I'm not sure if he's on the call. Let's hear what's next for the Covalent network.
He's not on the call.
Okay, he's not on the call. That's fine. Let's hear from Eric on what's happening on the ecosystem side.
One second. Okay, you can hear me and I was off mute. Great. Hey guys. So on the ecosystem side, we've been actually streamlining our blockchain onboarding process. I think there's a lot of exciting earlier chains coming. Soon coming, we're going to be seeing Astar, Aurora, Evmos, and a few others that are that are a little bit more nascent, but there's huge room to grow. We're also looking at getting more formalized with some of the subnet infrastructure. So as you're seeing a lot of these net new blockchains launching an Avalanche, DeFi Kingdoms has gone live. You've seen Carvana go live. If you're not familiar with these they're fantastic Web3 games, and their chains are very similar to Ronin, so the Axie side chain. So we're looking at what that looks like, and we're seeing that a lot of these single purpose blockchains just hold large possibilities. It's a different audience, it's a bit of a different audience. But instead of building a blockchain and then trying to figure out how to get people there, it's very much you have a product and now you're building the blockchain to better support the project and the community that already exists. So I think it's interesting to see what this looks like. We've been proactively spending a lot of time doing that, and then better understanding how we could integrate the Covalent stack to that, and what's live now, which is the API, and some of the other features that are coming down the pipeline. So that's how we've been spending a lot of our time. It's pretty exciting.
Awesome. What are we at right now? Are we at 32, 35? How many blockchains have you indexed?
I think we're at 35. I think we're around 35. There's some that are hidden in our developer docs, but they're definitely done. And when we're just coordinating announcements and in some cases just final touches. But I think we're around 35, 36, including testnets.
And any insight on what chain is launching next? Or is that too much of an alpha leak?
No. I think it'll be either Evmos or Aurora. Aurora is the near EVM chain, which is really cool. So they're also going to be rolling out some very interesting things in the near future outside of just Aurora, but it's very interesting. So it's the ability to deploy smart contracts on without actually having to build on near and no rust. So there's a lot of apps that are already live and a lot more happening. So it'll be one of those two that's going live next.
Okay, sounds good. All right, let's open up the floor to questions. There's a lot of questions coming in, and let's get the Q&A.
Okay, there's a question from Ganesh A. Oops. Oh, that's not a question. It's just like after the staking launch officially lost 50% of its value. I think Ganesh has already touched upon the point of the bear market and the climate, the current climate. But yeah, Ganesh, you want to touch upon that specifically? Yeah.
So we're a data company. So let me point back to correlation versus causation. And you could say that we launched staking and Luna lost 99.9% of its value. They're unrelated, right? So the staking is part of our roadmap. It is independent of market effects. You have to zoom out and think about what's going to happen a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. So the token was non-existent a year ago, and that means it was at zero. So the value here today, you cannot just look at a 5-minute interval and get anxious about what's happening. So these are unrelated events, and it'll take its course of time.
There's another question that says, what is the next big step for Covalent?
So right now, what we've done is it's very early stages for the network. So operators and delegators are bridging the Covalent token over to Moonbeam via the Nomad bridge. But there's nothing much to do there besides staking. And as Daniel shared, the staking room is done until we open up the room in a few days. So the next couple of things there is more utility on Moonbeam for the Covalent bridge token. So this includes listing it on DEXs there. So we're going through that process, other kinds of liquidity mining programs, and then eventually, of course, API calls that are being called against Moonbeam, those API calls will be settled on Moonbeam. So more utility, more circulation for CQT on Moonbeam. And of course, we've always been open. CQT is not just going to be on Moonbeam. There's other ecosystems that we want to pull into. So definitely Polygon, Avalanche, Aurora, Evmos, all of these ecosystems are pretty exciting. So it's just a matter of running through the same playbook, figuring out who the bridging partner is, going out there, launching with staking, and then building the decks. So just rinse and repeat.
Great. I think there was a question that is already answered. Meetup in the Box is already started. So that the question was around when is Meetup in the Box starting? Do you want to add more to that, Ganesh, around Meetup in the Box?
Absolutely. So let's take a step back and see how we've come to Meetup in a Box and these other Alchemist quests. So we had the Alchemist 1.0 program, which was about a year ago this time around. And Jackie spearheaded that program, and I would say that was a pretty massive success. And we have a lot of team members who've joined directly from the Alchemist program. So that was a few thousand people, and it was a very active program. Then we tried another experiment with the DAO structure, and that wasn't really a good fit at that stage and that time. And then we've moved to a new quest-based system where it's a little more structured and is a little more decentralized, right? So I think that's in line with the ethos of the Web3 space. So we have 3 quests that are running in the bootstrap phase. We haven't made a lot of noise about this because it's all on the background. So one of the quests is the Meetup in a Box. So this is essentially a decentralized version of how meetups can be conducted. And these are not specific to Covalent. These are meetups on the general Web3 space. I'm keen to see meetups on the data space and SQL and all kinds of things, right? And Shantanu on our team manages or facilitates that Meetup in a Box. And likewise, we have the Hackathon in a Box and the regional team meets. So we've been running these regional competitions to manage the Telegram channels. And that has been running for about 4 or 5 months now. And we've seen some pretty incredible results there. Likewise with the Hackathon in a Box. So once these are at a stage where I think it's good to take out the bootstraps and run it in production, that's when we'll start a new quest program. So that's really what the structure of these programs are.
Okay, just a quick ground this thing on this. If you have any questions, please put it in the Q&A section. If you also want to talk, I mean, I can unmute you, and then you can also ask the question that way if you have any concerns. Yeah, this is an open forum. Everyone on the team is present, and we are happy to take questions. So feel free to ask questions. There are a few questions in the chat. We can go there. Does CQT play a key role for the metaverse in the future?
It's a great question. So the way to think about Covalent is that it's an indexed bet, right? We're not a DeFi token. We're not a NFT token. We're not a security token infrastructure. We're not like a GameFi token. We are the data for all use cases on the blockchain. So it's really an indexed bet on the entire space. So would we have a role in the metaverse? Absolutely. If you look at all the data that's in the metaverse, all the land titles, all the ownership structures, all of the intellectual property, all of the royalties, I would say there's a huge role for Covalent in the future in these use cases. Definitely. We're seeing early signs. I think our NFT endpoints are one of the most popular endpoints after token balances. So a lot of the NFT galleries out there are powered by Covalent. So 100%.
Great. There's a question by Victor. How do you intend to do things differently from other tokens with the same utility?
So in this space, there is the earn token model or the work token model. So that is the nature of the Covalent token. So essentially, you can think of it as any kind of network that has a take rate. So if you think of DoorDash or Uber, the supply comes from the restaurants, and then or the supply comes from the drivers, and the demand comes from the riders or people who want to deliver food. And every time that matchmaking happens, there's a take rate. So Covalent is exactly the same thing. So this is why we go back and always talk about the supply side and the demand side. So the demand side, billions of queries, thousands of applications, and thousands of devs building with the Covalent unified API. So I would say that is our flagship demand use case on top of the Covalent network. So every time the supply, which Eric touched upon, we index like 35 different blockchains. And the more supply you have, the more demand appears. And the more demand there is, the more supply there is. So it's just this flywheel that goes in. And as the flywheel spins faster and faster, the take rate will automatically materialize. So if we go and index blockchain without the demand, then there's no value to the token because we're not matching supply and demand. So that only happens when you match the two sides. So that's really how it differentiates itself. So the way we've designed the token economics is that we have not made the token a payment token, right? So the payment token story is something from 2017. I think that's a dead story. I'm not sure of any other token out there that is successful that's a payment token. So here, developers will pay using stablecoin, just like they would pay for any SaaS product. But behind the scene, what happens is that the stablecoin is converted to CQT and distributed to the operators who are doing the work. And so that's really how the token circulates in the economy. There's two reasons to index the demand side in stablecoin as opposed to CQT. One is that developers and companies really want to forecast and budget for the API, just like they would forecast for Amazon Cloud or any kind of like SaaS product, right? And so asking them to hold CQT on their balance sheet exposes them to that volatility. And that's non-ideal because that's a poor user experience. If one day you pay like $1 per API call and the next day you pay like $10 for the same API call, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. So this is why we expose the volatility on the operator side, which is fair because operators are buying into the vision and they're able to model the volatility into their models. So I hope that answers the question.
There's one question around Elrond. I think, when Elrond will be live on the API, will you bridge CQT to Elrond? I think the API part is done. The bridging is yet to be done. But Ganesh, you want to take that up?
Yeah, so zooming back a bit, let's understand why has it taken us so much time to index Elrond. And we have a lot of expertise on EVM-based chains. We understand all the what, we understand all of the variations and the unique snowflakeness of these EVM chains. So this is why out of the 30-something chains we index, I would say most of them are EVM chains. Now with non-EVM chains, the challenge is that each non-EVM chain is different and distinct in its own regard. So Elrond is completely different from Near, is very different from Cosmos, is very different from Terra, is very different from Solana. And so what we need to do is basically go in and understand the data models, understand how to build it into a unified model. A lot of times these newer non-EVM chains don't have a lot of traction. So you need to understand if they're even able to handle the load that we put on their systems. So that's really what the challenge has been. And we made initial progress where Elrond nodes were exporting essentially the block specimens. So it's going back to our Covalent network. And recently, Adrian on our team has joined just a few weeks ago to complete that work. So there is good news on the horizon. The Elrond team is an excellent team, very hardworking people. I've known them for many years, and they're also bear market babies. So I think they have a lot of exciting stuff coming down their horizon. And it's just a matter of just sitting down and doing hardcore engineering months after months after months. So hopefully we get to supporting Elrond, I would say, before the end of summer. But it's just hard.
There's a question around exchanges. Like, has Covalent plans to go to other exchanges?
So we generally don't comment on exchange listings, and the blanket answer here is yes, more exchanges, more access to users. So yes, definitely, but no promises on timelines or guidance.
Perfect. I think that is it. There's the one question: where do you see Covalent in 10 years?
So it's a very interesting question, right? And our pitches haven't really changed in 3-4 years, and I think Covalent will be the data layer for it'll be the one-stop shop for all data use cases. So not just developers, but all kinds of people who need access to data, and it'll be all blockchains. And what will happen what will happen in the future is that these blockchains will get enterprise adoption. So then indexing private chains. So it'll be this this middleware that is behind all blockchain data. So that's really the vision, long-term vision of what Covalent will facilitate.
I think we've answered all the questions for today. Ganesh, any final thoughts before we close it?
All I'm going to say is zoom out, right? Zoom out, look at our roadmap, look at the commitment of the team. We've never missed these community calls, rain or sunshine. Look at our GitHub commits, look at our how committed we are. And you guys also know, look at the token economics. The team actually has no tokens. So including myself, I've been working on Covalent for over 5 years. We don't have tokens. That just shows you how committed we are to seeing this project through. So I'm unfazed by all the volatility. I welcome any kind of harsh condition because I think it'll be a flight back to quality. And we'll just be focused on the mission, continue shipping, continue delivering value, continue to onboard more developers, more hackathons, more use cases, go where the demand is, where the traction is, keep the community's desires in sight, and yeah, just continue executing.
Great. Thanks for the message, Ganesh. The video will be uploaded on YouTube. There will be POAP sent out to everyone who has attended this. Thank you, everyone, and please take care.
Thank you. Take care. Stay safe.